Up guys, rideshare guy here, and today I've got a video for you about ordering with Postmates and DoorDash. And basically, it's how to prevent them from screwing up your order. Because as you guys know, I often try out a lot of these services myself, right? So if I'm gonna go out and be an Uber and Lyft, or if I'm gonna go out and write about Uber and Lyft or do videos about it, I'm gonna go out and try it out. And obviously with Uber and Lyft, I did a lot more than just trying it out. I did a very extensive work, driving, doing rides, taking rides as a passenger, etc. Now, a couple of what I've been looking into lately, you guys might have seen, I've done a couple videos on Postmates and DoorDash recently, because in my mind, they're kind of that next wave of opportunity for drivers and just the companies that kind of beyond Uber and Lyft are starting to provide more and more opportunities for drivers and really growing on the customer side of things too. So this video is going to be kind of interesting and useful whether you're a customer of Postmates and DoorDash or a courier or driver for them too, because I've been placing a ton of orders on Postmates and DoorDash, and selfishly I'd like to say it's all for research. It's definitely a very convenient service and it's very easy to use. I really like ordering it in certain situations, but one thing I've noticed, and I've actually tried out Postmates as a courier, I'll be trying out DoorDash soon as a courier too and as a delivery person, but in the meantime I've been ordering a ton from Postmates and DoorDash just so I can kind of talk to the couriers, just so I can kind of get a feel for how it works and kind of what are the challenges, because you can really learn a lot. As you guys know, I always talk about how much you can learn from both sides of the app, right? Whether you're a driver on the supply, as a driver, or whether you're a passenger or customer, right? So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Now, one of the things that I've kind of noticed is there's really a consistent trend that Postmates and DoorDash are great at the easy stuff, okay? Order a burger from In-N-Out, boom, they'll go wait in line, they'll bring it to you. But it's when you kind of start making the substitutions and the changes and asking for this and asking for that, that's when things start to get a little bit dicey. And I think at this point I'd probably placed 20 to 30 orders with Postmates and DoorDash combined. So I've definitely done a variety of fast casual to fast food to restaurants, chains, independents, Postmates and DoorDash, and really just to compare and see how good of a job the companies are doing, how good of a job the couriers are doing. And basically what me personally, what I like using them for is, well, if there's a situation where I just don't want to leave the house, I've had a really rough day, or maybe I don't know, whatever happened, and now I don't want to go out and I'm just feeling super lazy, and that's when I want to order it. And that's when it is convenient, when you're really not in the mood. If I'm just kind of, on the fence, I'll go grab it myself. It's really not a big idea. But the other area where I like to use it is at places where there might be a long wait, or where there's, basically something that kind of is a hassle. Like I know that there was this Thai place that I used to order from, and they would always take 30 minutes to get your food ready. And so I would generally order that with Postmates or DoorDash and leave a little bit of an extra tip for that courier, since I know that they're spending more time and they're waiting more time for the food. So, I've done a lot of orders, and what I've found is that generally all the simple stuff they can do really, really well. Those In-N-Out, those Chipotle type simple orders are pretty good. Anything fast food, but where they start getting messed up, and I don't think that I'm the pickiest person when it comes to food, but I do like adding things, and I do like having sides, and I don't ever, order a burger and then take out 5 things and add 5 new things, but I'll make 1 or 2 additions, or I'll add 1 or 2 sides. I actually rarely take anything out. I like everything. When I go to In-N-Out, I get both kinds of onions, add peppers, add, animal style fries. I add a lot of stuff. I don't take anything out, but basically that's another story. So the problem is, though, when you start going through different levels, there's a lot of room for error. So normally if I go to a restaurant, I'm the one who knows what I want, and so I go place the order and I can go and get the order done, right? Because I'm talking directly to the server at Chipotle, for example, and telling them exactly what I want, and obviously I'm probably seeing what they want. Now, so there's not a whole lot, really the only room for error is if the restaurant screws it up, because me as a customer, there's no way I'm going to screw up my own order, although I'm sure it's happened. But when you order with Postmates and DoorDash, the thing that you have to keep in mind is that oftentimes your order gets routed through job support, right? So you type in your order, job support goes and they look at your order and they call it into a restaurant, and then a courier goes and they go and pick it up, and they are the ones who are checking it And so they're not even really interacting with you other than what you wrote down in the app. And then also you obviously have the restaurant too who's working on it. So there's all these 3 or 4 different levels basically of people that can screw up your order. And it's kind of reminiscent of that game Telephone, right? When you whisper something to someone and you say, hey, the cow is brown or whatever, by the time it gets all the way around the circle, it's something completely different, right? Because that's as someone else touches these things, as the new person touches it and the next person touches it and hears it and then repeats it, right? Things tend to get jumbled, things tend to get mixed up. And so that's kind of what I've found, that generally when you put in those more complex orders, if you say, hey, I want a wrap with a dressing on the side and then a side order of potatoes or whatever it is that you want, when you kind of start involving those multiple things and it has to go through those multiple layers, that's when your order starts to get screwed up. And the reason why it's important, because basically I've tested this with Postmates and DoorDash, and it honestly happens quite frequently when you start making substitutions, when you start adding stuff, and it can be frustrating for a customer. And obviously you're not paying a ton of money for this, but at the same time, you still want your order to be right. So, I guess my advice for customers would definitely be to kind of keep your orders as simple as possible. And I think that as these services get better and as these companies get better, they're going to develop better ways of checking. And I know that, it might even be something as simple as just being familiar with a restaurant. So if there are restaurants who typically, when you order a wrap, you get a side salad, that's kind of a thing that, hey, just how it's listed, because obviously I've worked for Postmates too, and sometimes orders come in and they look confusing. So for example, I know that I got an order as a Postmate the other day when I was out working, and it basically said that they wanted a wrap with a dressing on the side, and then it also wanted a side salad as the side for that wrap. So you can tell right there how it was confusing. I wasn't sure if the person wanted the wrap with a dressing on the side or a wrap, a salad, and the salad's dressing on the side. So what I did was basically I went, and as a courier, this is where it comes in handy for couriers, good advice for couriers is to basically, anytime you get those types of order, text back the order to the customer in your own words. And that kind of eliminates the confusion, because that's how you're going to order it, right? And obviously there's often, now if job support goes in and calls it for you, you might be kind of screwed. There's not a whole lot that you can do. But if not, you obviously always have the option. If you're going in at Chipotle and you're going to place the order and there's a couple things that you're unsure of, you can always text the customer back the order, or at least the part of the order where you're confused, and that kind of just allows it in your own words to confirm the order. So, that's just kind of my general advice. And I think definitely to start, I've found that I've kind of simplified my orders with DoorDash and Postmates. And if I ever want something really confusing or really complex, I generally just go out and do it on my own, or I'll take that kind of proactive step on the customer side to text the Postmate and say, hey, this is what I want, please, do this, do that. And I don't think most customers are going to do that, but I know that me, as someone who's worked on both sides, that's kind of what I do. So those are just some general tips to basically avoid having your order being screwed up from Postmates or DoorDash, because it is a pretty cool service. And I wouldn't say that I'm hooked on it, but I definitely have talked about in the past about ways to get, free credit, and they're always doing different weekly free food promotions. So there's a lot of activity over there. And I think that as anyone who's working in the on-demand space or interested, definitely something to keep your eye on. So if you guys have any questions about this video, Postmates, DoorDash in general, I'll definitely leave a few links in the show notes, but look forward to hearing from you. Definitely leave a comment or send me an email. I still respond to each and every single email. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I look forward to hearing from you. All right, take care, guys.